Time to the gentlelady, Ms. Torres.
Ms. Torres is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I am extremely disappointed that my colleague on the other side of the aisle called me out by name and that his comments were allowed to continue. When he said that I do not have a clue as to what he cares about. Civility in our debate is really important if we are to move America's priorities forward. I want to remind my colleagues and the gentleman that called me out that there are many Americans that also do not support war, but yet they pay their taxes, and that is not a choice that they have. And I do know what you believe in because I do see your votes. When you vote against the safety net that keeps families above from preventing them from becoming homeless, when you vote against food programs, when you vote against expanding health care, and when you vote against women being able to make their own health care decisions, I do know where you stand, and I do know what you're thinking. And I am asking that those comments be taken down.
Okay, so what's the story of that? Do we have any?
I will go explain to Mr. Torres that she had to say, she had to ask me to say that. It's on time. Yeah, it's on time. Okay.
Ms. Torres, I am advised, and I've got the staff coming to speak with you. Apparently, the timing on asking the words to be taken down had to have occurred at the time the remarks were made, so that it is not, as I understand it, procedurally an opportunity for you to claim that right now.
Madam Chair, it is unfortunate that I was not allowed the time to do that. I am not going to speak out of order, as I believe that order and civility in this committee is important. But I do want to further state that I do understand exactly what my colleague is thinking about when he voted against the American Rescue Plan, which expanded the SNAP benefits and WIC, and of course, the child tax credit expansion. He voted against Affordable Care Act, the act that was in Congress then, which was the biggest health care expansion in decades. And he had said that someone would need to yield. You know, why does someone have to yield to me in order for me to strike those comments down?
Thanks, the gentlelady, and we will follow the procedure and rules of the that are so stated. With that, let me recognize Congressman Diaz-Balart.
Thank you very much, Madam Chairwoman. And I first want to thank you and the ranking member for the hard work in putting a very, very large and difficult bill together. And I know it takes a lot of work. On the issue on the Hyde Amendment, Madam Chairwoman, I understand that these are very deep-held beliefs. Some of us believe that protecting the lives of innocent children is paramount. And I understand that the other side has a difference of opinion, but I do also understand that both sides, for both sides, these are deeply held beliefs, which is why there has always been an understanding that and it's been a bipartisan understanding. I'm glad that one of my colleagues read the letter by then Senator, now President Biden on this issue. So, you know, I guess people are now trying to say, oh, this is a radical point of view. Well, it wasn't radical. It's always been bipartisan. Again, even Mr. Biden believed that this point of view, the Hyde Amendment, was reasonable and respectful. And again, I understand that this is a sensitive issue, but there's always been an understanding that at least we should not force taxpayers who have very deep feelings about this to pay for abortions. This amendment doesn't change the issue of abortion. It's a discussion that we could have another day. This amendment just says that taxpayers should not be forced to pay for abortions when many believe that abortions, again, is something that's a red line because we're dealing with the life of an innocent child. And so I think it would be very unfortunate because if there is a red line in this bill, it's this. And we all know that if this amendment does not pass, and this language, again, the elimination of the Hyde Amendment and the Weldon Amendment are not in here, this bill is not going anywhere, which is a shame because I know of all the work that has been put in it. Again, so I know that there's a lot of emotions, but this is the bottom line. Should taxpayers be forced to pay for abortions? There has been a bipartisan sentiment and agreement, and I think a national consensus on that. This bill eliminates that. This amendment solves that problem and would also allow this bill to eventually move forward. So I respectfully ask that we adhere to the reasonable compromise and agreement with the American people, bipartisan agreement that has existed, that is that taxpayers should not be forced to pay for abortions. I urge this language to be included, which again would make sure that Americans aren't forced to pay, the taxpayers aren't forced to pay for abortions. Without that, this bill is dead. Without that compromise, reasonable language that has been agreed to in a bipartisan way would not only jeopardize this bill, but I think would do lots of harm to this institution, because we have to be able to show the country that we can still work together. And it is not radical when Biden, people from the left and the right have always agreed taxpayers should not be forced to pay for abortions. That's why I urge the passage of this amendment. I yield back.